TCU, obviously they've beaten good teams like Florida, played tough with Michigan, had ups and downs, but clearly a balanced offense. What do you see out of them?
Yeah, I think first of all, they're a team that plays with tremendous spirit. They're very physical. They play hard. Defensively, they're very disruptive. They've been turning teams over at a high rate. I think a big part of that is the versatility and the motors of their guys on the front line. Edmonds has been terrific, especially in league play. Punch has consistently been productive, and Robinson as well. So I think those guys have great speed, versatility, athleticism, and quickness that really ignites their defense. And then I think, their teams play fast off those turnovers and transition, and his teams are always great on the offensive board. So I think they're a team. They're going to continue to give people trouble because they play really hard. And so we know we're going to get their best, and we've got to be at our absolute best going into this one.
You talked about them playing really hard. They were down, close to 20 to Kansas State over the weekend, came back and won. How important is it to kind of have that as an example of, you have to play a full 40 on the road in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think that goes without saying every game, but certainly against this TCU team, the physicality they play with, the disruptiveness they play with, a lot of the elements and things that they're really good at are things that we're trying to do as well, right? So we've got to win in those margins against a team on their court who has got tremendous urgency, who's shown that regardless of what the score is, they have the ability to come back and find a way to win. So it is going to be the full 40 minutes. It's going to be, starting with the aggression and the being the team, trying to be the team with the better spirit, also understanding that maintaining that consistency of that over 40 minutes is going to be important.
Do you feel like your guys' bye week came at a good time? Obviously, middle of February, scheduled about to ramp up, middle of the conference season.
Yeah, I think the bye week certainly gives the guys' bodies a chance to bounce back. And so, you're always taking advantage of that ability you have to get some rest and then maintain your practice habits and get better. And so, we've got that and certainly try to utilize that to the best of our ability.
Do you, when you look at the schedule, I would think it would be easy for everybody to peek ahead and see how hard it gets. How do you keep the guys locked in? Or are you seeing that they're doing that already?
Yeah, I know that when you're in the second half of the Big 12 schedule based on experience, it gets hard regardless of who the team is. So I know that on the outside, people look at the ranking and the KenPom and all those sort of things. Like, I know this game that we have against TCU is going to be as hard as any game that we have left. And so I know that it's natural for someone else to look at where some other teams are ranked and maybe the name or whatever they've accomplished to this point. But we know that we're in that realm right now. We're going on the road against a team with a lot of toughness. So, we aim to build a program that focuses on daily improvement and consistency of habits each day, and you're hopeful that when you're in these type of situations, you're able to execute and exercise those habits, and they come to life for you on the night of the game.
With the turnaround you guys have coming up with next Saturday into Monday's game against Kansas and Houston, how do you recover from that in just like 48 hours?
I think right now all we focus on is the TCU game. So all we focus on today is what we need to do to be at our best against TCU, and then what we're going to do tomorrow is do everything we can to focus on being our best against TCU, and anything that comes after that won't be on our mind or prioritized until that opportunity presents itself.
Did you get a chance to catch up with Hassan at all at the game?
I did, man. Hassan, he looks great, and so proud of him. You look at what the step he made from his first year to the second year in our program and how much he impacted winning, and he's an integral part of one of the best seasons ever in Iowa State basketball, and he means so much to me personally. We've continued to stay in communication, and for him to take the step to come up quick and be able to see everybody and be there for us meant a lot to all of us, so really great to see him.
TJ, what kind of player were you in college, and do you see any similarities between yourself and Taman in regards to the way that you guys would approach the game or just kind of mentality?
I was not a very good player. Taman Lipsey's a very good player. So you have to start at a baseline of one guy's extremely gifted and talented, another guy has a lot of limitations. If you say, do I value playing with physicality? Yes. If you said, do I value getting loose balls and getting extra possessions? I think what you have to look at with Taman that a lot of times gets left to the side is how many extra possessions he gets our team by his competitive spirit, his will, and ultimately, what you're trying to do is get the most possessions you can and be the most efficient you can within those possessions. And when you look at the game the other night, from free throw rebounds to 50-50 balls to offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, deflections, steals, keep going on and on. Taman does such an amazing job of getting your team extra possessions. And so, everybody else gets caught up in the stats of points per game or, this percentage or that percentage, but the guys that get you the most possessions are the most winning players, and that's why we value Taman at such a high level. So I would say that there's not much comparison there between he and I, outside of the fact that I admire everything that he does, I respect everything that he does, and I would never disrespect him by comparing his game to anything close to whatever the heck I did.
You guys talk so much about controlling what you can control day to day. At the same time, I know winning a conference championship in the regular season is something that you guys probably strive for. Is that something that you guys talk about chasing as you enter the second part of this conference season?
Yeah, we've never once talked about a conference championship. We've never once talked about striving for a conference championship. Again, we believe so much in do what's in front of you, get better that day, maximize what you have in front of you, and that will take care of itself over time. There's so much that happens over the course of a Big 12 season. There's injuries, there's guys that get hurt, there's sicknesses, there's so much that comes at you. There's a time where your team's playing a little better and a time where your team's more confident. So to me, ultimately, what you're trying to do is fight for that day and being your best that day, and then the results take care of themselves, the outcomes take care of themselves based on the consistency of the habits. So we haven't talked about anything beyond, honestly, having a great practice today and being at our best tomorrow. Whatever that all may be and how it's supposed to be will play out, but the only control we have over is what's right in front of us.
You talked about how much you like the way Nate Heise's been playing as of late. How high do you think the ceiling can be for him, and do you still see that drive to grow on the practice court?
Yeah, Nate takes us to an entirely different level. What I like the most is his aggressiveness, the tenacity, the character, and toughness that he brings. When he brings those things on both sides of the court, our team, takes a huge step forward with who we can be. He gives us great versatility, being a bigger guard that can rebound, make plays, make shots, drive closeouts. He's a very gifted player. I have such a high belief and feeling of confidence in his game, and I know his best is yet to come. So with all the great things he's done up to this point, I know that for 100% certain and confidence that over the next 4, 6, whatever, how many weeks we have left, we're going to see Nate Heise's best because I believe in him. He does the work. I know he's prepared for it. I know how much it means to him and his teammates mean to him. So, a guy like that, is going to be at his absolute best when his best is needed.
When you talk about maintaining a chip on your shoulder even when times are good, how much of that goes back to the way you guys defend and the habits that lead into it? Because you can't think you've ever reached anything when you're playing that way, and teams are doing everything they can to thwart, I guess, your blueprint for success.
Yeah, you look at our game even that we just played on Saturday, right? And there's certainly a stretch in the second half where our ball pressure and our defensive intensity and ability to dictate changed the course of that game, took it from a back and forth game and gave us a margin. And so it starts with pressure on the ball, and obviously Killian gets a steal at midcourt and goes and lays it in. That sets the tone, but there were so many other plays where we became more disruptive, and I felt like there's a stretch of the game early where we were a step slow defensively for where we would like to be. We absolutely had our foot on the gas for a large part of that second half and how we defended, and now we need to maintain that. And I think it's an identity that when you defend with so much physicality and you disrupt your opponent's rhythm, right now so many things start to go your way. You can generate a turnover, you can force a tough shot, you can play in transition off whatever that is. The ball tends to move better. And so for us, it's really hard to play harder than the other team every single night out. We have so much respect for their coaches and programs, but that defensive mindset, mentality, grit, physicality, disruptiveness, it sets a tone for everything that we do. When that's happening, we rebound better. When that's happening, we share the ball more. When that's happening, we score with much more regularity. So I think keeping our focus on that and setting the tone with our defense is absolutely where our mind needs to be at all times.
For Taman to make those plays that you were describing earlier, what is it about the way he plays or sees the game that allows him to recognize those as opportunities to make plays? Because he just seems to make plays that other guys wouldn't have even thought to make.
His ability to get from one play to the next play is the greatest I've ever seen in any player. So, like, there's specific possessions where he chases a loose ball down. Now a shot goes up, and he chased that first one down on the left side of the floor. Now a shot goes up, and he chases it down on the right side of the floor. Many guys would chase one down and then catch their breath and kind of say, okay, now what's going on? He gets right to the next thing. Even when something isn't to go his way from an offensive standpoint, whether it be a turnover, we miss a shot, something isn't to go that way, he right away gets to the next thing, which might be chase down the loose ball, pressure the ball, sprint back on defense. And so he has the ability mentally that he's built over time through his habits to quickly transition from A to B. And so he knows he's out in front of the play on the next play, where so many guys are either consumed with the last play, haven't moved on from the last play. And I think for all the great gifts that Taman has, I've not seen a player ever that does that as well as he does, which allows him, you've got to have a certain level of explosiveness, quickness, instincts, mindset, but it's really so much more about his mental ability to go from one thing to another thing faster than what everybody else does, so that he's constantly ahead of those plays. And I think that same skill serves him well, from an offensive standpoint. When you look at assist to turnover, how he's continued to do such a great job valuing the ball is, I'm a step or two ahead of where everybody is. And I think that is a unique skill that really separates him, and it's what's made him the elite player that he is, and put him in position where, there was nothing that was more winning on Saturday than Taman making those plays time and time again, consistently over and over and over, that gave us, a great chance to be successful. So he's got it at a different level than anybody I've ever seen.